Well, in news just in, President Cyril Ramaphosa has fired embattled SARS boss Tom Moyane. And for more, we're joined by ENC's Heidi Chiokos. What happened?
We don't know yet, but we do know that the President has issued Tom Moyane a letter. He has listened to Judge Nugent's recommendation that Tom Moyane be removed as the Commissioner with immediate effect. So we know that he is no longer the Commissioner. He has been fired, and we have confirmed this with the Presidency.
So the reason given is that the President has listened to what Judge Nugent had to say.
We do not know exactly what the reasons stipulated in the letter as to why he's been fired, but it's a given. The interim report by Judge Nugent, this whole commission was commissioned by the President to understand what went wrong at SARS. And a couple of weeks later, after the interim report was released, after Tom Moyane's letter was given to the President about his recommendations as to why he shouldn't be fired, it's literally a day later and the President has fired him. So obviously he applied his mind as he said he would, and he has now decided that Tom Moyane is not fit to be the Commissioner of the Revenue Service.
Now, from that statement released by Tom Moyane's lawyers, was it a couple of days ago? They were the ones who in turn gave President Ramaphosa a deadline, saying he needs to get back to them and tell them what he was going to do. Is this what he has done, or all we know at this stage is that the President has taken a decision?
So this is what he has done. I think, that letter that was given to the President on Tuesday to say this is exactly why we think you should not fire Tom Moyane. The President has come out today saying, actually, I'm going to fire you because that letter was basically bashing the Nugent Commission, basically saying why the Nugent Commission is biased, unfair, illogical, and so forth, and told the President that he has until the 9th of November to tell Tom Moyane and his legal team that actually I will not listen to the recommendation. And a day later, you have the President saying, actually, I will listen to the recommendation, and I feel that you should be removed as the Commissioner. So that letter obviously holds no weight, given the fact that a day later, the President has made up his mind.
Remind us again, what were the reasons Judge Nugent felt the President needed to axe Tom Moyane?
So the Commission of Inquiry, it was a panel, and Judge Nugent was heading that up, and he basically gave a number of reasons as to why Tom Moyane should be removed as Commissioner, basically saying that the Revenue Service, ever since Tom Moyane came in, was, it was an atmosphere of distrust, of fear, of intrigue. All these negative feelings that just, came into the Revenue Service. He was basically saying that Tom Moyane was not acting as a commissioner, was not putting the Revenue Service before everything else, but rather different people's needs were being prioritized. We had an issue of why Tom Moyane allowed certain bonuses to be paid off to certain executives without National Treasury's permission. That also came up in Tom Moyane's letter to the President to say that actually I did get permission for that. So, you have a situation where it's literally one version against the other version. But this Commission of Inquiry was established to try and understand what exactly went wrong. And this commission has received tons of evidence from various executives within SARS, people who have left SARS, whistleblowers and so forth. You have a situation now where the President is saying, actually, the evidence that has been given to me by this commission warrants for me to actually remove him as the Commissioner.
Of course, we haven't heard Tom Moyane's version, of the story, because he refuses to even recognize the very.
Well, he's filed a 700-page affidavit to the Constitutional Court, which I have been reading, basically saying how he's never been given a fair opportunity to present himself, and while he was at SARS, it was running the best it's ever run. He's giving his version, and he's trying to argue how when he was there, everything was running smoothly. But there has been evidence. We have a revenue shortfall of 50 billion rand. Not to say that it's simply because of Tom Moyane's leadership, but there were a number of issues that the Revenue Service was constantly facing. And he chose not to present himself at the Commission of Inquiry and rather dealt with his disciplinary hearing, which has now been on hold. But he has now been removed as the Commissioner of SARS. So that means, what will happen to his disciplinary hearing? What will happen to the Commission of Inquiry that's set to end by the end of November?
Okay, so we're going to leave it. Thanks very much.